2002, I got a call from a friend of mine who I'd worked with before, Andrew Cortez. He was just starting up the Forza 1 team, and I was racing professionally that year. And I'd had a few bad crashes, and I just got this call out of the blue. I'd worked on networking before in the Windows team, and he asked me if I'd come and help consult on the racing and do the networking in Forza version 1. This game really brought me back to Microsoft because it gave me an opportunity to help work on a game and make sure that it was accurate and a good tool, not just for playing a game and having fun, but also for becoming a better driver. We have some very enthusiastic people on the team. David Guyrock, our physics developer, is very enthusiastic about making the physics system run perfectly. And I was able to give him feedback on what systems are working, what systems aren't, what things need to be added in order to make the car handle properly, and what parts of the physics engine are important for racing and what parts aren't as important. So he was able to focus on the most important parts. There are lots of things that separate Forza. To me, the important one is the physics engine. When I play a racing game, any racing game, that's not PC-based but console-based, I'm not learning anything about driving. I'm not becoming a better driver. To me, they're just like flying a camera around a nice track because the physics just aren't real. You're going 200 miles an hour around a corner that you couldn't do 80. The grip model isn't right. The car handling isn't right. It looks fast. It feels good. But it's just not real. If you drove like that out on the street, you would wreck your car every time. And there's been people who've done that. If you drive like you drive in Forza, legal won't like you saying this, but if you drive like you drive in Forza, you'll be driving correctly, and your car will pretty much handle the way that Forza, shows you your car handles. Part of racing that doesn't translate well to a flat screen is the fact that you need to be able to look 180 degrees into corners. A lot of people think racing in terms of NASCAR. It's like in NASCAR you just put your foot down, you lift a little to turn left. In road racing, it's all about the corners, setting up your exits, coming in at the right speed, getting your marks correct. And in order to do that, you really need to be able to see into those corners. The three-screen setup here helps you do that. You can look 180 degrees into a corner just like you could in a car. In fact, in some cases it's actually better because you don't have the car around you. So you can get a really good sight line, set up your corner correctly, make corrections, and just nail it. These three are LCDs. LCDs probably aren't the perfect setup. Your view is only for the guy sitting here. If people are watching you, they get darker as you get off axis. I'd recommend using plasmas if you've got the budget. We have one LCD rear view. That way when you're racing with a bunch of people, you can see where they are coming up behind you. You get a 180 degree view around you with the three screens, so you're pretty much in the same situation you would be in a real car. This seat actually is produced by a Canadian company called VRX, and it's the best racing seat I've ever had for a video game. There's a butt kicker, which is a vibration generator mounted underneath the seat, so we kind of worked with them in the game so that vibrations from the road you can feel in your butt, so when the back end of the car is kind of sliding a little bit, and you can make corrections and adjustments based on that. We also, in Forza 2 versus 1, we have a force feedback steering wheel, which we did a lot of work with to make sure that it gives you the correct information. So real drivers will know, when the front end is slipping, the steering will get light. You can also feel the vibration from the road and the rumble strips in your hands. So you really get more information about what the car is doing. Part of going fast is understanding how to slide your car evenly through corners. And typically in video games, you don't have enough feedback to know when that's happening. So you're just kind of guessing, and if you go over, you lose control and you can't recover. With a force feedback wheel and feeling the vibration, you can get the car at the edge, balance it properly, and get through the corners fast. We've done a ton of upgrades on the sound system. The cars sound so real. We had it out at Sebring Raceway, and we actually sponsor a race car, which is the Risi team we sponsor the Risi team in the American Le Mans series, and they've been winning everything. But we had our three-screen setup out there, and they were practicing the track in their car, which we have in the game, while no one else could get on track, and a lot of the other competitors were saying, hey, that's not fair. You can play on one screen. It's still an excellent experience. We use a wider field of view so you can see better into the cars. It's obviously not as good as having a full 3-screen setup, but you can certainly be competitive regardless. Okay, we have a bunch of fictional tracks, and we have a bunch of very, very famous raceways. In Japan we have Tsukuba. In England we have Silverstone, and we have a lot of these circuits can be configured multiple ways, and they're real configurations for the real circuits. So Silverstone, I believe we have 3 configurations. New York is a fictional track. Sebring, again, is another very famous track. It's where the 12 hours races run every year in the spring, and it's kind of the beginning of the endurance race season. Suzuka, another famous track. It's a Formula One track, and this is one of the tracks that I learned to race on by playing Ferrari 355 Challenge, which again is a 3-screen setup, which is basically something that helped me learn to race. Mazda Laguna Seca, I've raced here a ton. I probably have over 1,200 laps of this track. So I was able to give them feedback on like the exact corner exits, the camber of the track. So even besides doing our very detailed layouts and surveying of the track, I can tell when it feels right here, and I was able to give them that information. Okay, this is definitely my favorite vehicle in the game. This is the car when I was 12 years old. This is the car I had the poster of in my bedroom. This car was built in 1984, and it's competitive with some of the fastest cars around right now. It's the 1984 Ferrari GTO. With any form of racing, in order to get fast, you need lots of seat time, and you need to be consistent. That's the most important thing. You've got to, you got to put in your time. You got to get your marks right, brake at the same point, get your turn right, get your laps consistent, and work on your time. Okay, now we're going to race.